The other thing I want to discuss is regarding rating out. And so something I see regularly being asked and being mentioned, and I see this regularly from smaller streamers who are trying to grow as well. I know they're trying to grow. And I know and when I say I see this, I literally do see this because I will be hanging out in streams. I'll tab people up and go visit them, bounce between back and forth, and I will do that with various people. When I see the tab name change, oh, there's a raid, I'll jump in and hype up the raid as well. I'll do all that. Um, but then I'll tab somebody over and I'll see they're offline. And I was like, okay. The fact that I'm still on your page and you're offline, that means you didn't raid out. Always raid out. Always raid out. It is a great way to gradually grow your community by exposing yourself to other streamers and other communities. It's a great way to do that. Um, and I'll regularly see people just people who maybe not affiliated yet, or maybe they are recently affiliated, um, or maybe they've been affiliated for a while, been streaming to streams to a few people, and then they won't raid out. And you're just really shooting yourself in the foot when you do that because uh, you're not making yourself known to people who didn't just stumble across you. You're making yourself known to new people by, kicking down a door and saying, "Hi, I'm here," right? It's a great way to make some additional connections. So I will always rate out, and I even try to rate a different person each time. And that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes I'll rate somebody again who I really like, or I may forget. It's like, did I rate this person yet? Or I may run out of people because I like to network with somebody first. So at some point, I'll be rating somebody, a second, third time. But I try to space it out at least, right? Um, so just always rate out, always rate out. Now, I know the part of the reason why people don't rate out is because of uncertainty, and this is the topic I want to talk about a little bit because I'll see people say on threads or say, "Oh, I never rate out. I almost rated out once, but I got nervous and I backed out." And so, basically, what I say about that is, when somebody's asked, "What's some advice? What's some advice?" And one thing that when people ask for that advice, the advice they get is things to be cautious about, things to look out for, things to make it more efficient, things to make it better. And it could be a little bit overwhelming in my opinion. It could scare somebody away. So, yes, that's all good advice. Those suggestions people make are good advice, but I wouldn't overthink it. Like I would err on the side of just do it. Just do it. Um, my rule of thumb. Now I'm kind of quoting myself from a Threads post, but my rule of thumb is if my viewer count compared to the person I'm rating is at least 10%. So let's say I've got 5 viewers. I will raid somebody who is under 50 viewers. Don't. It'll probably be okay to hit somebody bigger, but don't want to stretch myself too far, right? Because it feels awkward. Like if I rate, like basically the extreme case, as my lonesome rating somebody who's got 100 viewers, right? It can feel a little like, what are you doing, kind of thing. So, but if my view count's at least 10%, I will raid, guilt free. Um, But it's also good to rate people of similar view counts, lower view counts, all spreading goodwill as well, and I'll do that too. But so I will rate smaller people too, but I will sometimes try to expand my reach by rating people bigger than me, and so my rule of thumb is 10%. Um, but and then this gets into there's other things to be looking out for, but. Uh, if everything else is confusing, just do that. Press the button. Just go. And this is true if you're rating as your lonesome. If rating as your lonesome. Uh, if Now for a long time I thought that you needed to have your own viewers. Like you need viewers to raid. You need to have a community to raid, and it's not true. You can raid as your lonesome. You have one viewer, that's you. Just hit the button, go. And the 10% rule still applies. So, you know, 1 times 10 is 10. So if anybody who is, single digits ish viewer count, like, do it. Like, you as your lonesome rating somebody with 8 viewers, just do it. Just do it. Anybody who has a problem with that is not worthy of ever being rated again. That's just the reality of it. Somebody who does not, uh, treat it with the same level of excitement, right? Whether I get rated with 1 or rated with 20, it's still exciting. The only difference is if it's 20, I will kind of like hubba, kind of, lose my train of thought, brain buffer kind of thing. But I'll still treat the one with as much excitement, right? It has that whole raid message, the Johnny Silverhand comes up, and the Frosty Tools spits out the shout out, and I will read that out loud. And it's an AI thing that, where it kind of summarizes that streamer and what they do. I will read that out loud, even if it's at rate of 1. So it's, so yeah, I'll do that. And of course, I'm not carrying more than 10 viewers, generally speaking. So a rate of 1 is exciting and falls within that 10% rule. Go for it. Just hit that button. Err on the side of hit the button. Now, that being said, there are some things that could improve the experience. For one, I like to network with somebody first before I go to raid, because you don't want to hit somebody random, giving away all his secrets. Yeah, this is it's just advice. It's just advice. A lot of it's my opinion too, but but yeah, I will like to network with people first. I like to know who I'm hitting before I hit them. But of course, there's other things like people. One thing to look out for is it sucks to raid somebody and they've got follower only. It's really hurts that, because like, there was actually one time where I joined somebody on a raid, and I was gonna be trying to hype up the raid, but they had follower only on. I'm like, what the fuck? So then I go ahead and hit the follow to basically give them advice of turn off the follower only, and that was ignored. So I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to bother with that again. Here's a tip that won't help anyone have a buttery voice like Vallen. Much appreciated. Thank you, Thank you, ATX. Where was I going? Completely lost myself. Those compliments from ATX distracting me. Shove the mouth as close to your lips as possible. But having follower only raid, yeah. So yeah, follower only can be very crushing to a raid. It's hard to have people jump in with hype when they got to follow in order to hype it up, or the tip. So it's something that's good to look out for, but don't let that scare you, right? If you are looking for somebody to raid and you go to raid somebody and oh no, they're follower only, it's okay. It's better to raid than to not raid. Like, with all else uncertain, just hit the button. Somebody's also said, I will try to make sure they haven't been streaming too long, so I don't raid them just for them to raid out. My opinion, people love you for it. Yeah, my opinion. Somebody said, don't raid if they've been going for a long time, so they might immediately be raiding out. I actually don't see an issue with that. Like, I'll hit somebody, and they'll be like, "Oh man, I was just wrapping up about the raid," and I start throwing my raid emote again. It's like, "All right, another raid, let's do it," hyping it up. No issue with that. I have it happen. Yeah, I don't see an issue with that. Like, it's actually kind of a good thing, because what you're doing is pumping the viewer count up for them right before their raid, and it makes their raid more effective. So instead of raiding with, say, 8, now they're raiding with 13. It makes their raid stronger, so it's still a good thing. In summary, if you're not certain of specifics, just raid. Just do it.